Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. It is Marlo Ellis here. If you don't know who I am a lifestyle and business elevation strategist, a freedom coach for women, and an inspirational speaker. I am here today with a dear friend of mine and a biz bestie as well, Michelle Cooper. Hi, Michelle.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here today. This is a really, really special broadcast. And so I feel very honored to be sharing space and time with you and sharing this incredible message with so many other people out there who may be presently sitting in fear. So before we get started, what I wanted to do is give a quick introduction because you're such a rock star, such a money rock star. Everybody needs to know who you are. So I met Michelle last year. And I was instantly drawn to her energy and to her wisdom and to her open-hearted service for women in particular. But I know you work with women and men. And one of the things that you do is really help them with their money mindset, which is such a big issue. So it's such a blessing to have somebody like you in my circle. But I also know that you are the founder of The Vault, which is an incredible Facebook group online that people can dive into if they need some support around their money mindset, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
And you are also a chartered accountant. So you have many irons in the fire, but I also know you have something very exciting happening this fall in September, which is your book that is called Confessions of a Money Rockstar. And I realize that that's coming out in September. So congratulations on getting that done, because we all know what a nightmare it is. Talk about fear. We all have a book, right? Everybody always says, I have a book sitting right here, but it's actually diving into it and doing the work that's so important. And of course you get the results, which is a published book. So congratulations. So I know that you and I were talking yesterday about the importance of having somebody to help you with your fear. And you and I talk weekly. And one of the reasons we do that is because of our need to bounce ideas off each other. So it's a very important call. We check in. But in April, you and I had a very special conversation, and you had, contacted me and said, Marlo, I really need you to help me out with this. I'm really struggling. So I thought maybe you could share with the community what it is that you were about to do, and then we can get into some of the things that we did to get you through that real quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. I had my husband's from the UK, and so we were in an immigration process, and at the same time, I was doing a lot of work for my self-development and some work around how I envisioned my life, that big picture vision of my life, that ultimate dream where people go if you could, nothing is an obstacle and you could do it all, what would it look like, right?
Right.
And so kind of thinking about that in the fall and the winter and stuff, and doing some visioning exercises and meditations, I came up with this vision of a life on the beach in Mexico, in the Baja, right? And yeah. And so at first it was just a vision, and then it became a possibility. And then through more journaling, more visioning, more meditation, more just talking about it, it became more and more reality. Mm-hmm. So a friend of mine had connected me with her dad, who lives in the Baja. And he connected me with another person who connected me with another person. Eventually, I found this great guy, Bill, and he was like, I'll find you a house to live in, no problem. And so little pieces started to kind of fall into place. And what I found was that fear started to creep in.
Right.
As it became more and more a real possibility, fear started taking over.
Right.
And, it did get to the point where I was paralyzed.
Right.
So it got to the point where we, me and my kids, my husband had looked at this house. We'd looked at a whole bunch, online, then we kind of settled on this one, and we kind of negotiated with the owner, and he let us bring our dog and all this stuff, right? That was important to us. And then I got the contract in an email, and it was like, sign this contract, send the deposit. And then I became paralyzed by fear, like I've never been before.
So what would you have been scared of? Because I know that this was, and I think this is a really important piece to talk about, because we all have a dream. We all see things that we really want to do, and we get paralyzed, and there's a reason for that paralysis. So what was it that you were scared of? What were some of the factors that played into that? Because those are some of the things that we address very quickly in our call.
Yeah. So my big fear that you uncovered that I didn't know at the time was that I would screw everything up, that I would drop the ball, and that it wasn't just me I was responsible for. I had 3 kids, and if I could go without eating for a couple of days, but if I really dropped the ball, I had 3 little people that I had to like provide safety and security for, right? And the basic needs. And yeah, and so it really came down to, given the opportunity, I will screw it up.
Right, exactly. And I know that so many of us, women in particular, we have this fear that we're going to let other people down. And it's funny because you just said it yourself, I can go for a few days without eating, but God forbid if my family does, right? Like ding, 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 there's the bell again right there. So what's really interesting is that we are so accustomed to putting everybody else first and worrying about what everybody else needs, or to make sure that everybody's thriving, that we often forget what it is that will help us thrive. And what I uncovered during that call was that you would thrive in the environment that you were dreaming about, and we had to get you there. So what I'd like to do is very quickly just kind of give a quick synopsis about what happened, because I don't want people to stay on here for long. I know people are on their lunch hour, and we really did this in like 5 minutes. It was not, sit down on a couch and, tell me your childhood story and all of that. You called me. I was in the car. I pulled over. I think I was in front of my salon at the time. I said, we're going to do this in 5 minutes. And so one of the very first things, and I want to talk to everybody about the 3 things that we lasered in on in this call that got her through her fear in 5 minutes. And the first one was really focusing in on what Michelle, excuse me, I'm going to cough a little bit through this, what Michelle really wanted, like why this was important to her. So I pulled over and I said, Michelle, why is this important to you? And what was your answer?
Because it was living in my authenticity, thriving, and feeling so abundant and happy.
Right. So let's think about basic needs. If a mother feels abundant, happy, and thriving, how are her children going to feel?
They're going to feel the same.
The same. So that was the first thing that I uncovered, was why it was important to you that you sign those papers. Because I remember the papers were literally sitting in front of you, and you said, Marlo, I've got these papers and I've got the pen in my hand and I cannot sign this. And I said, okay, just put the pen down and let's talk about why you can't sign it. So, you told me what your fears were. And then, excuse me, we went into, we went into number 1, why it was important that you signed it. So actually, kind of after number 1, we probably could have hung up and you would have signed it, because you had yourself convinced that it was a non-negotiable. Because is this a non-negotiable in your life at this point?
It is, yes.
Okay. So non-negotiable means there's no turning back.
I needed to be reminded that it was non-negotiable.
Right. Exactly. And so that's why having somebody there to actually say, let me just sit back, and all I did was listen to what you were saying. I didn't know that you were going through this process at this time. I just listened to what you were saying. And when I heard your words, I thought, this is a non-negotiable for her. And so I asked you, is this non-negotiable? You said, absolutely. So that means that you must sign, right? And I think about when people make a decision or they decide to do something, that word actually means to cut off any opportunity. It actually means to cut off. So when you decide to do something, you're actually cutting off the opportunity or the chance of going back. So you had already made the decision. But just to kind of seal the deal, we went into number 2. And I said to you, Michelle, have you ever done anything in your life like this? Have you ever moved to, of course I knew the answer. I said, have you ever moved to another country? Have you ever done anything risky? Have you ever taken a chance like this that really was, you know, kind of going to possibly put your family at risk, possibly put yourself at risk, but it was a non-negotiable. And so you dug deep and you pulled that feminine badass that I know you are up, and you did it. And what was your answer?
Absolutely. I did. I left Canada in 1996 with one-way ticket and like $500.
Right. And how did it go?
It was great. It's fantastic. I realized that I can pretty much do anything and I will be okay.
Exactly. So you've already done this, number one. So you're actually a practice veteran at this. And this is one of the things that we so often forget, is that some of the things that we're fearful of, like, for example, leaving a relationship or leaving a job or getting married. Some people have done it already. And so doing it again it's just, we get so caught up in the attachment to the emotion of something that may not happen. That's what fear is. Fear is actually attaching an emotion to something that hasn't even happened, right?
Yeah.
And so when we attach the emotion instead to what we've already done and the things that we've already accomplished, what it does is it takes us from fear to for sure, because I've done it before. It might not have been easy. Was it easy when you moved to the UK? Was it easy all the time?
Nope.
Absolutely not. But look where you are today. Do you have a thriving business?
Yes, I absolutely do.
Do you have a thriving family?
Absolutely.
Do you have a thriving life? Do you have a thriving circle of friends around you?
Yeah, I do. And I consciously created them.
Exactly. And do you believe that your UK experience was part of why you are the person today?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Wonderful. So that was step number 2. And then the last step was that we were going to get off the phone. So I said to Michelle, are you going to sign these papers? And I believe that your answer was, F yeah, I absolutely am. Right? And I said, okay, but I also understand that we can take a step into our fear, and then a day later we can back away and we can go, oh, wait a minute, I need to, send a response and say, hey, just hold off on that lease because I'm just not sure. So I asked you to do a third thing. Do you remember what it was?
It was the affirmation.
Right. So I asked you to create an affirmation. So we talked a little bit about the affirmation, because when you create an affirmation, you actually have to be very specific in your words, right? So what we did is we took a look at some of the language that you used, some of the things that you were afraid of, right? Yeah. Number 1 was security.
Yeah.
Number 2 was being financially free, because you were worried that if you went away, that it somehow might cut off the line to money or PayPal when you were there, right? I was like, you're going to be okay. Technology's great. It's a beautiful thing. And then the other thing, excuse me, was that you were worried that you might not be happy, that something might go wrong, that your children might not thrive. So do you remember what your mantra was?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I still use it today whenever fear starts to creep back.
Awesome.
It was, my business creates financial freedom and security for me and my family. And we thrive in that. And it also includes, I made it a lot longer, but that my business enables me to thrive from anywhere in the world.
That's what it was. Yeah, exactly. So you basically, I have written down here something like this: my business provides security and financial freedom, allowing me to thrive from anywhere. I believe that was the mantra that we created that day. We did this in about 5 minutes. Did you sign the papers?
I signed the paper.
And where are you going?
On October 24th, I am getting in my car with my dog and my daughter, and we are driving down to the Baja.
Permanently. This is a permanent move, is it not?
We have rented a house for a year, so it is our first step into living a different life.
That's amazing. Yay! Here's the thing. The message that we're trying to get across today, of course, is that sometimes we sit in fear unnecessarily. And what it does is it takes up time. It eats away at our minutes because we don't have as many minutes as we might think we have. And so for Michelle, it was really important for her to get to Mexico and to start living the life that she dreams of. Excuse me. Now, one of the things I know about Michelle is that part of her vision, part of what will fulfill her, is to dip her toes in the ocean every single day. And I know that this because we talk pretty much every week about our vision and our mission in our lives. And I think it's really important to share that with people, because when we start getting closer to what our vision actually is, the fear starts to get much grander. It starts to get a lot bigger because now we're making decisions, especially as we get older and there's family and, there's other people involved. Those fears start to grow. The larger your dream, the larger your fear. Does that make sense to everybody? Give us like a yes in the comments if that makes sense to you, because we would love to have your input. But what I know for sure is that when you actually have, excuse me, somebody by your side who sees your greatness and who knows that you are capable of absolutely anything, and if you allow them some time to breathe that greatness back into you, that amazing things happen. So I know that I am so excited for you, Michelle. I'm a little bit jelly, but I'm really excited because, of course, the part of my vision is to go back to Mexico and live there part-time and dip my toes in the ocean every day and, live that life. And it's so incredible. And it's certainly on its way very soon. And I know I'll be meeting in the beaches of the Baja. But
absolutely,
one of the things that I can do, obviously, is help other women through their fear. It's something that I love to do. It's something that I do every day. I know that Michelle calls it kind of coaching people off the edge. It's one of the things that I have through personal experience. I don't know if that's good or bad, but whatever it is, through personal experience, I've literally moved myself through so many phases in my life that were fear phases, I like to call them, because they were massive growth and they took massive commitment, massive decision. And I am running a program September 4th through the 30th of September, and it's called the F Word, and it's all about fear. It's all about moving women through their fear. Now, this is a 28-day program. I did this with Michelle in 5 minutes. So I'm pretty confident that I can help women move through their fear in 28 days. Michelle, are you planning on being part of that program? I think you had said something about that yesterday.
I am. People they would definitely see me there because fear is something that can keep creeping back, right? And we have to keep doing the work. It's like any other work. I have to keep building my muscle against fear or something, right? Like,
no, for sure.
Because if I don't fuel that, it starts to creep in. I'm also going to be paying for my assistant, who's going to be working in my office over here while I am down in Mexico, because she's stepping into a bigger role as well, right? And fear starts to creep in, right? So I believe in your work, Marlo. I'm a witness of how it can change your world.
Aw, thank you so much. That's amazing. And of course, I was listening to you, but I was also putting the link in the comments so that women who are interested in taking a look at it could go in. The program is, the program is really just a product of my passion, which is to help women step into the lives that they desire by freeing themselves of fear, because fear is the foundational piece that stops us from doing so many things. I mean, we can have fear of failure, fear of success, fear of rejection, fear of death, fear of sadness, fear of loneliness, fear of isolation, fear of making too much money, fear of not making enough money, fear of disappointing. I mean, the list is literally infinite, the things that we're afraid of. And at the bottom of it all, though, is that it's an attachment to an emotion around something that has not yet happened. Right. And so the logical thing to do is to acknowledge the fear, figure out why we feel that way. Usually there's some kind of a past experience that we're attaching to it, right? And then work our way through that process. And at the end of it, just understand that there's such a beautiful gift on the other side. And everything that we do in life requires risk. Getting in your car and driving to the local, restaurant to have a glass of wine requires a level of risk. We don't realize it, but it does. We know that people don't make it there every single day for some reason or another. And so what I'm doing is I'm just saying, listen, the risk is worth it, because it's more likely that you're going to succeed. If you tap into your greatness, you will succeed, right? If you tap into your fear and your weakness and your feeling of lack and your feeling of not being enough, you may not succeed, or it will be a lot more difficult, right? But being a massive influencer in your own life and in your own mindset is such a huge part of being successful, whether it's in your personal life or in your business.
Yeah.
So I want to say thank you so much, Michelle, for showing up today and for sharing the story, because I believe that this is the kind of thing that people need to see, that it really does happen. It really does require a little bit of a shift in your mindset, but we can do anything that we put our minds to, right?
Absolutely. And it's putting your mind to it, right? There's a little bit of work involved. There's a little bit of like digging into what's going on and understanding it and moving through it. And so. And it
can be 6 months or 6 minutes. We decided to do it in 6 minutes.
Absolutely. But if you're going to walk away with a tool to get through this, anytime it comes up, like you can pull that out of your toolbox kind of thing, that to me is priceless.
Yes, absolutely. And those 3 tools that we used on that call, looking at what you've done in the past, looking at how important it is to you, and then creating some kind of a mantra or, something that you can literally say to yourself every time that you feel fear coming around this particular thing. Those 3 tools right there are enough to get you through pretty much anything, really, and then of course having somebody to connect with, a biz bestie or a coach or a mentor, or somebody that you can dial up and say, listen, I need 5 minutes of your time because I'm on the edge, right? So I just wanted to take a look at the comments really quick and see what anybody had to say here. Oh, this is so nice. We have lots of people on today. We have, let's see, Adrian, Heather, Candace, Shannon, Christine, Emily, Tammy, Lisa, Shelly, Candace. So many women are on here and they're just like amening all over the place. So again, we all know that this is an epidemic. So please join us for the F word. It is a 28-day fear workshop, basically a fear boot camp for feminine leaders. And I'm leading this, but you will see Michelle in there. And of course, she's a powerful force. So it's always good to be surrounded by incredible women. The dates of this boot camp are September 4th through 30th. It's $129 US to register. That's the early bird price. All you have to do is go to the link in the comments, hit it, and register. There's not a big sales page on this because if you've watched this and you already know what I do, and if you need more information, please feel free to contact me. That's awesome. Michelle, I'd like to just leave everybody with a little bit of where they can find you before we go, because you know that I love you and I love everything that you do. So can you share your expertise quickly?
Sure. I have an accounting business. You can find me online at Michelle B. Cooper Bookkeeping and Accounting Services. I also am a money mindset coach. I run masterminds and programs throughout the year. So you can find that on my website at michellebcooper.com. And I am in my group, The Vault. You can friend me on Facebook. My Facebook is wide open. I get nothing to hide. I don't limit it to anything.
Me neither, sister.
Right? So friend me. I like chatting and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
And yeah, you're just such a wide open soul. It's so incredible to have you in my circle. I just adore you beyond words. Thank you so much, sister. I honor you for sharing this, for opening up and telling a little bit of your what's to come, because I don't know that everybody knows that, but they do know.
They do know.
Yeah, next step, right? Putting it out there. All right, sister, have an incredible day.
Okay, awesome. You have a good day.
I'll see you in the Baja.
Okay. Woo-hoo.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.